How does my best friend Yukon make my everyday life better? And how can you, as my classmates and the general public, also improve our lives? Oh, anchor. Down. Good job, buddy. My name is Brandon Toma. This is Yukon. I'm a certified service dog handler, and he is a certified service dog. Service assistance dogs are changing the lives of people who need just a little extra help in their everyday lives. I want to explain the purpose of service assistance dogs, their training and certification process, and the difference between a service dog and an emotional support animal. I'm hoping to raise awareness for these furry friends who work so hard to make their handlers' lives better. Now, purpose of a service dog and service assistance dog. Now, I will say service dog, service assistance dog, kind of interchangeable. One's not right while the other's wrong. They both work, they work together, and work apart. So that doesn't matter as much, just mainly their disability tasks and what they're meant to do. So, what does a service animal provide? The Americans with Disabilities Act defines a service animal as a dog who has been individually trained to do work or perform tasks for an individual with a disability. These tasks performed must be directly related to the person's disability. Now, the purpose of a service dog is to allow the owner to function more normally. This includes making their daily activities and psychological well-being better by having the animal around. It encourages the owner to get out of the house and go live a normal life. Now, what varieties of service dogs are there and what tasks can they provide? Different types of service dogs include guide dogs, hearing dogs, dual purpose dogs, and then service assistance dogs. Excuse me. Now, like I said, I talked about their tasks. They're called disability tasks. So what are they and why are they relevant, right? Disability tasks are performed by your service animal to make your life better and more normal. These tasks include, but are not limited to, nightmare interruption, anchoring to anxiety, assistance with limited mobility, deep pressure for those with autism, and even alerting a handler when their blood sugar is low. So, those are just a few examples. There are over 100 disability tasks that they can perform just for the type of dog that Yukon is, because technically he's a psychiatric and a mobility dog. So, what should you do if you see a service dog in public? Well, best thing to do is just leave him alone. You can tell it's a service dog mainly because you'll be in a public installation. You're out, you're doing your shopping, see a golden retriever out down the aisle. And normally, they're wearing a vest. Yukon. Yukon here. Scoot you over here, buddy. He's wearing a red vest, has his name on it, and service dog on the other side. And then his vest also has the organization's logo on it. Oh. There you go. Down. Down. He's a little mad because we've done this a whole bunch of times. So, you can tell by their vests. Normally they'll say service dog, do not pet, stuff like that. Just not a normal thing that a regular dog would be wearing, and they'll also be in public. Now, Yukon also has his own ID card. I normally clip it onto his vest, took it off for this, but it just explains that he's a certified service dog and who to contact to verify that and information like that. Now, the vest lets you know that the dog is there for a reason, especially out in public, and also it lets the dog know that it's time to work. Yukon outside of his vest is a very mischievous golden retriever who's 3 years old. Now, in his vest, he's a very good and hardworking boy. He's also a good boy out of vest, don't get me wrong. I love him both ways. Now, you should never try to touch a service dog or a working dog in general. They're there and they're working. Out of vest, it's different, but in vest, you should try your best not to distract them. Now, that includes trying to give them food, trying to pet them, trying to say hi to them, or trying to just get their attention. Now, if you read the situation and it seems like the handler might be okay with you petting their dog, or somebody else has been petting him, or they don't seem too overwhelmed or too busy doing something, it is polite and appropriate to ask them if you can pet them, and that's okay. But general rule of thumb, just pretend like the dog isn't there. Just let the person go about their everyday life. So, how did Yukon get trained? mean, he's a very good boy. Training and certification process from Paws for People service assistance dogs. Paws for People / Paws for Vets is the organization where I got him in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's attached in this information, but if you'd like to know more, it's an incredible organization, and they have tons of information. But anyway, the training process at Paws for People is starts out at a young age of 3 days old, and it goes in stages of whelping, puppy development, obedience and skill training, the bump process, and then public access training. The client training is the next large portion of their training where they start to work with their handler and assist them through life. This is the training wheels or the teal vest process. There are 3 vests for Paws for People. There's the teal or blue vest, and that's for the dog solely in training and they have not gone home with their handler yet. Then you have the black vest, which means that the handler and the service dog have passed the initial testing and they're able to go home, but it's more of a driver's permit type of deal where they have to come back for recertification for their true testing, and there's constant checking in, and they still go to regular training on a monthly or bi-weekly basis. It depends on the schedule and COVID. And then once they're done with that, and you've passed your annual certification, then like Yukon's, you get a red vest, which means that we only have to come back once a year for training, or if we need more, we can come back. But those dogs are normally the best of the best. So they've been working for a long time, and they're pretty established with their handler. Now, it's a long process going through it all. Yukon and I met in March of 2020, and we didn't red vest until November 2020. So spent a lot of time, a lot of days, just training, getting to know each other, and really learning how each other work. So it's a long process. Different organizations have different methods, and but the longer you spend, the more training you do with other certified trainers it's better for everybody. So, what's the difference between Yukon, an emotional support animal, and why can he go into public? So, what classifies an ESA, emotional support animal? Emotional support animals are not limited to one specific animal breed. They can range anywhere from a cat, dog, turtle, or even a bird. I've seen articles online of people trying to bring, emotional support pigs and ostriches and all sorts of crazy stuff like that, just abusing the system. Now, the important part for an emotional support animal is that your therapist believes the animal will help with your mental health and that they write you a letter agreeing for the need for this animal. So, ESAs are covered under a law by the Fair Housing Act and not the ADA. That's because they're meant to provide your mental health relief, but are not needed for daily life functions based on a disability. So, they're your comfort at home, and that's pretty much it. Or on planes, even though most airlines have denied emotional support animals due to abuse of the system and poorly trained animals. Now, what right does my service dog have that an ESA does not? Huge friction point because ESAs do not have public access. I run into it all the time with people with normally small dogs, emotional support animals. Oh, I can bring them in here. And it's unfortunate because you can't. And most of the time, it wouldn't matter if they were well trained, but they'll bark and they're very distracting. And then it also gives service dogs a really bad name when you're in public and you have a misbehaving dog just completely disrupting the business. But emotional support animals are authorized to go into housing areas that have pet restrictions, i.e. renting an apartment or a house, and they say no animals. Well, my dog's an emotional support animal. Okay, they can't deny you access. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. Service assistance dogs have public access, which means that any place is public, Yukon can go. Whether it's a restaurant, Walmart, a public park, even a public beach. Although I wouldn't take him there because I wouldn't want him swimming in a public beach. That's just rude. But he can pretty much go anywhere that isn't private, and if it is a private installation and you get permission, then that works too. But he cannot legally be denied access because he's a dog at a public location. We've run into this issue, I don't know how many times now, and technically it's a federal offense to deny access. Not that we're there to get people in trouble, but it's very disrupting to our everyday lives when we try to go out to dinner and we're getting yelled at by a manager for having a service dog here, and they don't care about the ADA or anything like that, which is a little crazy to me. But he can go anywhere. He doesn't need his vest or his ID tags. Technically, he's just all that a business can ask is what the disability tasks he performs are, and is he a service dog? Outside of that, no paperwork, nothing needs to be shown. So, as you can see, there's a pretty big difference between emotional support animals and service dogs. Now, while this topic is something that I'm passionate about, and I could drone on for a very long time, I already have gone probably way too far. Sorry about that. I feel like the main points are a great starting point for education for others when it comes to service dogs. Now, service assistant dogs are changing the lives of people who just need a little extra help in their daily lives. My life has drastically improved since I've had Yukon, and it's I can't thank him enough. Um, you can now understand how Yukon helps me and the other dogs like him go through similar processes. He's made a drastic difference in my life and continues to help me every day. And teaching you guys about him brings awareness to service dogs and also helps us in public when people know what to do. Thank you for your time, and see you soon.